And like, I'm thinking, 10 years ago, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now, to having to take a few moments and gasp a few times for air. And I was afterwards, of course, she's, oh, I've got these lung issues. And I'm going, I know, I know.
And it's just it is a nice gift, and I do love it, especially for people who are struggling in their life at that time. It's
Special guests, we share the flame. Through every word we claim our name.
Hey Sparklers, how we doing? So if you're new around here, I am Empress Sparkle. I am a witch, clairvoyant, soul seer, and much more. And I'm sure you've seen some of my other videos to know this. Today I have an amazing guest with me, and that is Alison. Alison, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Certainly. Thank you for having me. My name is Allison. I'm a life coach and Reiki practitioner, and I've been practicing Reiki for about 10 years and recently dabbled a little bit more into the coaching realm as well, because when I find I do Reiki with people, we sort of come across things that might be blocking them, or like, they might be held back a little bit in certain ways. So there's some ways to move forward with that as well. And I've been doing both of them together for about a year and a half now. And
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
I call myself aligned with Allison.
I love that actually. When I looked in, obviously went and searched you on Facebook and stuff like that. Because I'm a bit naughty. I like to research my guests. I know you guys see me as this magical tarot reader, most of you. But sometimes it's nice to actually see what the guest is up to that I can't feel, is the way I'm going to word it. Um, so I love the fact you're called that, because that is what Reiki is about. We're aligning everything, we're lining everything up. So my first question for you, lovely, is how did you get into Reiki? Because that's something even in our conversation beforehand we didn't talk about.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd love to share a little bit about that. Basically, in my early 20s, I sort of got involved a little bit more in spirituality. And, I read this really lovely book called Conversations with God, and it had this really great impact on me. And just sort of like learning more about spirituality and about our energy and about, who we are and what my purpose is in life. And it sort of led me to, it was actually my aunt who was sort of deeper into the spiritual world at that time. And she approached me and said, "Do you want to learn Reiki?"
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I was like, absolutely. Like, I really didn't know too much about it at the time. I just knew that it was sort of seen at that time as a spiritual practice. And I knew a little bit about the chakras and bringing yourself into a healing state. And I was just really interested in learning more about that. And so I just said yes. And we did some Reiki courses together, and her lovely friend and business partner taught both of us, and we went through all of the stages together, and we learned shamanism, and I mean, I don't know what else we got attuned to different things, clairvoyance and things like that along the way. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it was just this really beautiful process over a few years. And
I
yeah.
love that you got to do it with family, because there's a lot of us that have had to hide ourselves, including me, guys. So I will say that that have had to hide ourselves from family, and the way that people view our beliefs is the way I'm going to word it, because they are very against society and Christian sort of ways and stuff like that. I'm trying to word it cautiously if you can't tell. So I do love that. I do love that, because for me, it's an important part of the journey. Having people, like-minded people around us and stuff like that. I think for me, because I did it oh God, I'm making myself sound old. I started my journey in 1999, so I'm a bit like, we had no one.
Very different back in 99.
We were still on index cards trying to figure out whether they had actually got the book we needed in.
Yeah, I remember those days too.
I think I might go and hide in a corner. Um, so I'm now interested with what you've said about your journey, sweet, and I hope you don't mind me asking this. What you did beforehand, because usually you said about the fact you're finding your purpose now. So I'm wondering whether that affected you going to find Reiki, if that makes sense.
Like looking for my purpose in life, you mean? And yeah,
Yeah.
and it was sort of like something that was on my mind, and I didn't know why it was on my mind, but for years I would just think, oh, it would be cool to learn about Reiki. It would be kind of, and so when the opportunity presented itself, I was just totally open to it.
Oh, I
And
love that.
and back then, like, I'm thinking, 10 years ago, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. So, I would tell people, oh, I'm going to learn Reiki. And they're like, oh,
I think as well, because Reiki's very misunderstood, isn't it? Because even back then, they didn't know it was actually Japanese. Everyone was like, Reiki's Hindu, and it was like, no, it's not. And when I have to explain that to people, it's very, they can't understand how Reiki's Japanese.
yeah, it has deep roots in the Japanese culture. And, it's, yeah. And there is a lot of it that's completely misunderstood. So I think the more mainstream it becomes, the more we talk about it, and people really understand that it's nothing strange or scary. Like, we can all do it. We can all be healers if we want to be.
Yes. I think that's one of the important things because I know for me, with people, when they first come to me, the hardest bit is when you first connect to them because it can feel different to everyone. So we have to explain the different feelings that you could feel. But like my autistic daughter absolutely hates it. She will not have Reiki done because it feels like the way she says it is someone's put ice in her tummy
Oh,
and that's
interesting.
all she can feel. So she absolutely detests it. So how would you explain to someone when they first come to you that sort of connection that they're going to get with you? And
Yeah. So how I explain it is I'm a channel of energy. And so, I say whatever is meant for you to experience is going to happen. So, some people see colors, some people have different feelings, some people fall asleep, they need the rest and relaxation. Some people cry, they get in touch with some of their, deeper issues. Um, and I just say it's all just part of the journey, and it's whatever is meant to happen is going to happen. And then afterwards is when we can talk about anything that I picked up that might need to be
yeah.
addressed. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I do a lot with mine. I have a book and I note down as I'm going along because I sort of meditate with them and doing it all. Because I do try and get my girls, I mainly say girls because it's mainly women that's open to it. So that's not me disincluding men. You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
But women are more open to it. But for me personally, that is one of the things that I do with my girls. I note down things I've seen during it, things that I've felt during it as well. Um, and also what crystals suit them best
Yeah.
because the vibration. So I do love that. So I've got to ask, lovely, because you said you about the shamanship.
Yeah.
I'm sort of taking notes as we're talking, so I hope you don't mind.
I
So
know.
this is one thing I never actually learned, which is really important actually for Reiki because the main religion of East Asia is shamanship.
Mm.
So I would be interested in how you've sort of combined the two, if you don't mind.
Sure. So how it sort of, I guess, morphed for me is that I am able to have visions while I do Reiki. And so I would call that a shamanic Reiki session. And I've just sort of, I just sort of say, oh, well, I do Reiki, but it's a shamanic session because there's this other piece to it. And, with that, I can also do things like past life regressions. I don't do that as often. Um, that's its own process, taking people back. Yeah. Um, but yeah, with the visions, I'm able to sort of connect with the other side at the same time that I'm working with the energy. And so a lot of times people will come through that have passed on, that have messages to share with the person receiving the treatment. Um, or I'll get, imprints of, things that might be coming up for them emotionally that,
Yeah.
you know, need to be addressed. I don't want to say need to be, but, want to come forward. They want to be seen. Uh, a lot of the times it's deeper trauma. People don't usually see me, if they're doing well in life. It's usually they're going through something and they're like, oh, I need some energy. And then, I'm able to pick up on some of the deeper things that they're going through and get these kind of extra messages and incorporate it into the session to make a long story long.
No, you're fine, lovely. I love that. And the face pulling then is because sometimes, so I see souls. So my goal is to get everyone white souled. And that is my goal. And sometimes I don't mean it rudely, when they do get to that point where they're like, actually, I don't need you anymore, until usually 4 weeks later, they're back going, actually. But when they don't come back, it's actually quite a sad process because we've been through that journey with them and
Yeah.
we've been there every step of the way. And when I know it sounds weird, but when we're feeling their emotions, we know how to empathize with them, we know how to connect with them. You do build an emotional tie.
Yeah. I feel like I really know my clients and like I try not to creep them out by saying that too deeply, but like I do, I really know them and I really know some of the things that they've been through. And, I think some of the ways that they can move forward through them. And it does feel like a bond. Whether they feel that as deeply as me, I don't know. But, I certainly feel that.
No, but I understand what you're saying there because I'm gonna freak you all out here. I know stuff about my clients that my clients don't even know that I know.
Yeah.
So when they come to me and they say to me, "Oh, yes, I have done my meditation this week," I'm sat there going, "Really? Should we have a conversation about that?" And they look at me like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I can feel it all." And it's usually then points that they realize, actually, how much do you know then? And I'm like, "Can I run? I want to go now." Because I realize I've dropped myself in it on how much we can feel, how much we can see, and stuff like that. So I love the fact you've brought that up because I know that's going to scare some of you guys. So I do apologize.
Use our discretion though, and I think that's we keep it professional that way and, not overshare the things that we know or not make it awkward, it's like sharing what's important in that moment that would be helpful for them to know, you know.
Exactly that, because that is one of the things that I do in that moment. I'm like, right, okay. And I'll do things like all of a sudden, because as I says, I do mine in meditation. And all of a sudden I'll be like, right, okay, with the next breath, as we breathe out, we're going to breathe out loads of negativity surrounded by white light, and we're going to push it away. And we're going to remember that we're beautiful, we're kind. And they do sort of cotton on that I've picked up something's bothering them at that point because one of my ladies the other day I was going, we don't have thistles around our heart chakra. We're going to break through them thistles. And she was like, and then she messaged me afterwards and she was like, how did you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it don't matter how I know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that is an important part of Reiki though, because it helps us and guides us in how to heal people.
Yeah.
Um, The worst bit, guys, if you could come to us in full health, we would love it because the worst bit is when we can feel your backache. Um, your colds.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I had one lady come with me and to me and she had lung issues. And so during the session, I was struggling to breathe and I was going, what is going on? Like, what? Like it was so heavy and I was just having to take a few moments and gasp a few times for air. And I was afterwards, of course, she's, oh, I've got these lung issues. And I'm going, I know, like really, it's hard to breathe.
This is one of the things that I think it's crazy with Reiki because then we sit there going, we don't want to scare you, but please attend to doctors. Please attend to doctors. And they look at us. I've had messages afterwards and I've gone, um, where you're not breathing, can you attend the doctors, please? And they're like, yeah, whatever. So they go to the doctors, going, look, I've got this mad lady that's told me to attend you. She said apparently there's a problem with my nose up the top, and they're like, oh, you know them things where it gets really infected at the top of your nose, but it doesn't actually make you like ill.
Hmm.
They had got one of them. And they were like, I've had to have it surgically removed. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, it's really like sometimes it's hard for me to believe that like I can really feel these things in other people, it trips me out sometimes. I'm like, is this real? Am I making this up?
It does feel like that. I don't mean it rudely. It does feel like that. Like sometimes I'm like, am I going insane? Can
Yeah,
I
and then,
really?
then they'll confirm, oh yeah, no, I've got this thing, and you're like, oh.
Oh, okay. We'll go with that. Or sometimes if a spirit's coming through, like I can feel the way a spirit passed. So sometimes I'll go, oh, who's the male that had a heart attack? And they'll go, like, oh, it's my dad. And I'll be like, can you tell him to step back?
Mm,
And they'll be like, what? And I'm like, he's here. And I'm like, tell him to step back, please. And they're just like, especially when it's a new, my most of my clients now are just like, yeah, it's her. Most of them just go, it's her. It's Empress. That's what she's like.
oh yeah.
Um, honestly, it makes me laugh. It really, honestly, it's so nice to speak to someone actually that gets this side of it, if I'm honest, because you either get people just coming into Reiki, you either get people just coming into Reiki and they're over spiritual. So even we look at them like, this isn't
Yeah,
okay. Um, or you get the ones coming into Reiki which are still very skeptical
yeah,
about it. So it's sort of like getting the ones which are like me that go, am I insane?
yeah. Yeah, chat with another insane Reiki practitioner.
I know what the comments are going to be like already. I really do. Um, so I'm sort of looking through, I hold my hands up at the same time, I'm looking through the questions. I'm like, we've already answered that. What the heck? Um, I do actually, this would be a good one. What was the most challenging part of learning Reiki for you?
That's a good question, actually. I would say um, the most challenging part about learning was allowing myself to be okay with this part of me, with honoring this part of me. Um, and it wasn't anything about like the actual physical process of it. It was truly an overhaul um, of my ego, and my attachments to what other people think of me. Um, yeah, because at the time learning it wasn't as mainstream, like we've mentioned. Um, but along with that, I was worried about people's judgments, this sort of stuff that we're talking about right now. I still have people question me, well, what do you mean you see that? Like, and they'll, question me on, you know, where it comes from, or, how it could be possible that I'm making it up, or
Yeah.
read people's cues. Um, and I just don't I'm so not that person to read into anybody's physical cues or clues that they give me when they're talking. And, I'm not going to dig into somebody before they come see me to know anything personal about them.
Yeah.
Um, so it, for a long time, I would just really have my guard up, and I wouldn't share openly that I did this. I wouldn't share openly the gifts that I have, that, I can, communicate with the other side, that people do come through, that I can, see, what is a good path for somebody to take in their life. I would just really shy away from it and keep my head down at work, and just do my kind of 9 to 5. And it's just recently that, after all those years, I battled with myself around that, when I came to the understanding that, like, I've just got to honor who I am and honor me. And it, as hard as it can be at times, this is, I'm putting all of me out there now. And this is who I am. And so take it or leave it, right? And people have a choice. They can consume whatever they want as far as media is concerned. And, they don't have to come to Reiki, you know.
Yeah, see, I love that because that is so I hold my hands up before I actually got the certificate in Reiki. I had a lady come to me and taught me she called soul cleansing.
Mhm.
So I love what you're saying there because I've been able to soul cleanse people since I was about 32.
Yeah.
And most of my family had suspicions that I did all this, but it's never been spoke about. It's sort of been a dirty little secret in the closet. It's like, I think with my family, I would have had more luck coming out as like a lesbian. Like, I don't mean to offend anyone, but I think I would have had more luck coming out as that than actually coming out as this. Like, it is just a massive no-no. So I do understand what you're saying there because it is very hard to be ourselves, like very, very hard, especially. I don't know about yourself, but not even just while we're doing Reiki, but if you're out in the street and you just feel something negative next to you and you can feel it and it's pulsating on you, and it's like you want to step forward and go, can I help you with that attachment, please? That's why you've got depression. And you can't because they'd look at you like you're completely insane.
Yeah.
Yet within 6 months, you could have this person in a really good place, level-minded, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah. Or I'll be walking down the street and somebody's grandpa will come through to me and want to share something. Like, I'm not gonna stop some stranger. Hey, your grandpa says, hey.
By the way, I've done it once or twice. I have done it, and that is because the person wouldn't stop pestering me. And I'm like, okay, 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 I'll do it. I'll
You
do
can
it.
believe it when they're just hanging out, hanging out, hanging out. It's like, well, I might as well just share this then.
This is the thing, and it's just it is a nice gift, and I do love it, especially for people who are struggling in their life at that time. It's an
Yeah.
important gift. Um, because I know of people, you're most probably the same, Alison, who have gone to their priests, have gone to their vicars, have gone to their pastures, and they're just like, no, I feel so disconnected from it. I don't know what's going on with me. The Bible has nothing in there to explain it to me. So I'll actually explain that is how I got into it. So 2 years after my cousin died at 12 days old, I couldn't get my head around it at all. Why
Mhm.
such a young baby? And there was nothing in the Bible. And I was a strict Bible basher. So I was your proper church 3 times a week, everything. Um, and then I found a book on witchcraft and
Ah,
it explained death.
yeah.
So that for me was something that could explain it. And sometimes when we're in these situations, assaults, stuff like that, where the Bible sort of tries to put the blame on us
Mhm.
or tries to make it okay, but not in a way that we're satisfied with. Our soul can feel like, I don't mean it rudely to people. If you feel not satisfied or something or disconnected, that's your soul saying to you, that's the wrong path.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, that is the wrong path for you. Um, so I think for me personally, that's why I sort of like love what you've said because it shows there is people like us for people who are struggling like that. Um, the weirdos in a corner trying to get your attention, but not fully. That's what my husband calls me. He's like weirdos in a corner. And I love it. I'm like, yeah. Because it makes me think of the goth kids at school.
Yeah.
The craft sort of
Yes.
night. That's what makes me think of. So I'm like, yeah, I'm one of them. I'm happy being one of them. And he just looks at me going, I never thought I'd see the day you'd say you're happy being one of them.
It's so freeing though, isn't it? Like it's just so it's so yeah, it just brings so much more joy to my life when I can fully realize and appreciate and accept who I am, you know? Yeah.
Exactly that. And that's what we want for people. We want them to be free. We want them to be following what their soul's here to do. Um, and as soon as you find, by the way, guys, I always believed it was to do with healing the soul colors. But what I've actually found is actually to do with a purpose. Over the last 6, 7 months, um, I found more it's to do with a purpose. So I better explain this to you, Alison. I see souls in three different colors, which is black, grey, and white.
Oh,
People like yourself and me, we have white souls where we know our purpose, we know what journey we're on with our soul, and we're absolutely fine with it. We're fine with who we are. By the way, guys, I'm not saying that we don't get self-doubt, etc., because we do at times. But then your grey souls are your sort of white ladies. Always speak in ghost terms where they're full of regret, full of guilt. They're on their soul's path, but they don't quite align with their soul's path, is the way I'm going to word it. So that's sort of like all of that. And I'm sure you can guess your black souls. I'm sure.
makes sense though. Yeah.
Yeah. And black souls are what end up our shadow men stood
Mm.
in the corner.
Ah.
So get cleansed, guys. Get cleansed.
Yeah, get on that cleansing.
Yeah. Um, so I'm going to ask because this is something I've actually never spoke about because we do integrate Reiki into our daily lives, and I've never actually asked one of one of my guests how they do that. So how would you actually integrate it into your life?
Yeah, so how I use Reiki on myself is when I'm feeling any type of like overwhelm or pressure, or if I just want some type of connection. Like sometimes I get like really I'll really live in my mind and I'll be sort of pulled away from life and just really kind of stuck in the clouds. I'll just turn on my Reiki energy and I'll just sit there and I'll just allow it to flow through me. And I just sort of do that throughout the day. Sometimes I'll just do that when I'm driving or when I'm, you know, just sitting on the couch, or I particularly like to use it when I'm doing yoga, just because I feel like it really helps me. Because I honestly, I hate doing yoga, and I don't know why I have this like resistance to yoga, but I really do. So that tells me that there's something on the other side of it, and I've just got to kind of work through the resistance. Uh, so I try to really use the Reiki to help me through a yoga session.
I love that. I love that because it is true. I tell the girls all the time. I don't use Reiki energy. I use soul energy. So I bring my soul energy forward, and I'm always putting my white light around me when I'm driving, and I've got that idiot next to me, and I'm breathing out their negative energy surrounded with white light. Sometimes I'm a bit naughty, and I'm like, yeah, you can have your negative energy back, and I bounce it off it. Um, so I love that because I think it shows actually just how much Reiki can help us.
Yeah. It
I
really raises the vibration, and it just really takes you to a different level where you can just get out of just being in your mind, and it brings you back into your body, and I just think we're so disconnected from that these days. We're just so in our minds most of the time, and completely separate from our bodies. And getting back into that is, I just think it's so important for our healing. Just, being in the present moment, being able to enjoy the moment. I just, it just makes all the difference in the world, honestly.
I love that. And the reason why I love that is because so I have a couple of sayings which actually go along with this, and that's emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. And the reason why I've said that one is because it links with the next one is no one will torture you more than yourself. So I love what you've said because we seem to have forgot we're with ourselves 24/7.
Yeah.
So
So there we are. So why not make friends with the body that we're in and the mind that we're in, and learn how to work with them rather than fighting them all the time, you know?
yes, and Reiki can do this. I don't care what any of these practitioners say. Um, I I think personally I should explain something a little bit and why I'm saying this to you guys. And um, I think Alison's going to be a bit shocked with how white my eyes are. I used to be nearly a black soul.
Mm.
I was on the verge of ending everything and had heck of a time. And then this lady come in and taught me everything. And I'm so grateful to her. I spent 12 years on antidepressants
Mm.
and they did nothing for me apart from made me stop caring for my kids. That's the only thing they did. Reiki is a lifesaver. And I don't think people see that.
No, I don't think so either. But because if we don't want it to feel good or healing, we can have those blocks. Like if somebody doesn't want to receive that, they're not going to, but
Yes.
that's the key, is like allowing it. If you want to be healed, you absolutely can be healed, but you have to remove the blocks in order to heal yourself or to heal others. They have to remove their blocks as well.
You've actually made me want to ask a question that isn't even on my paperwork. So do you find with people's blocks, though, they're putting it up their self as a sort of protection barrier
Yeah,
sometimes?
all the time. That's in my experience, right? Like I just feel like people, it's hard to envision their lives without the suffering that they're currently in,
Yeah.
and it's you kind of are attracted to what's familiar. And so then you replay the patterns of hurt um and punishment and suffering. And I know people don't really like to hear that, but it
It's true.
have to be like that.
Yeah, I find it a lot. One of the hardest people I actually come to me when they're healing, and they're the ones which take the longest to heal. And they're the ones that also have what I call the dips. It's where they actually go backwards for a little while, are the people that victimize themselves. And I don't use that term lightly, so I will just say that. But they are the ones which they don't enjoy this cycle, so that's the wrong term in. But it's like you say, they're just so familiar with it. They're okay with it.
Yeah.
Ah,
And they can
I,
consciously say, like, I don't like this, and they don't understand why they repeat it. But that's why it's a block, because it takes getting to the underneath and uncovering what it is that they like about that. So It's a tough thing because I know people don't like to hear, well, you want to be a victim or you like that or you like the suffering, but there's something in that. There's something in that that is familiar or that you're drawn to. And that's the challenge is figuring that out and getting to that nugget and uncovering that and turning it over into, oh, okay, well, I can have my needs met in a different way and heal myself at the same time and raise myself to a new vibration.
I absolutely love that because that is perfect. Absolutely perfectly said because it is so true. Um, I remember when I was first going through it, I was like, oh, no, like I deserve this. A lot of us. So the main terms, if you're saying these, you're victimizing yourself. I deserve this. My family is cursed. Why does it happen to me? Why have I got so much bad luck? These are all the terms that are victimizing ourselves. So you want to actually change them into more positive terms. So things like, oh, my family isn't cursed. I tell you what, instead, actually, my family is brilliant. Look at my little girl. Oh my goodness, she's managed to run. Look at my little girl. She's done this. Look at my, if you, I know it sounds weird. I'm talking as in child terms because I've got three girls. Um, or even for me, I sit there and I'm amazed that I've managed to move to YouTube because a lot of people don't successfully move from TikTok to YouTube. And it's sort of like understanding that it's small steps rather than leaps.
Yes.
I
That's
think that,
that's a
sorry, love.
huge sorry, yeah. I just want to agree fully with that because the huge leaps often it's too much for like your nervous system even to handle. So then you just go back and you continue the forward and the back and the forward and the back. And then it just becomes this awful dance that nobody wants to be in.
This is one of the things, and I think when people first come on their healing journey, they expect it to be like negative energy. Sadly, we do feel negative energy easier than what we feel positive energy. I don't know why our nervous is, I think that's part of our natural
Yeah, it must be.
protective. Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of that it must be part of our natural sort of protection um thing. But for me personally, what I want for people to understand is like for me to get to the point where I am now, where I just have to get rid of more or less daily negativities rather than actually yearly what's happened in the past. I think I want people to understand that that took me 6 years to get to that position. So it weren't an overnight situation.
Yeah, I
Um,
in process too.
yeah, because you've got to walk through it.
Continuously every day. Like it's every day not turning back into as you would call it the gray, that kind of gray soul area. And we're humans, so we're going to be tempted by residual feelings of trauma in the past or things that pop up around us that trigger us. So it's a constant push pull and like just trying to be aware of where we are and where we want to be and the vibration that we want to hold. It's not always perfect. It can't be perfect, but it is a bit of like reminding ourselves every day, like I want to live in the white light. I really want to honor my soul's purpose. I really want to live in a way that feels aligned, that feels like I'm who I'm meant to be.
I could, that is perfect because it is so true. And as you say, we can, there's me, I'm, we all get triggered and stuff like that. We all do. But now we're at the point, once you get white souled, it's dealing with it daily rather than, and that is the thing that I love about that. Sorry, love. I just, oh, I love that conversation bit because I know for some of the people that are listening, they're stuck in this cycle still at the minute. They're still stuck in this cycle. And if I could get everyone off that cycle, I'd be so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't need to struggle so hard, like it doesn't need to be such a trudge to happiness. It's okay to let go a little bit and like move a little bit more gently and softly through it.
Exactly. And it is little tiny things that you should be happy for. And I've said it before, wording. I remember saying to one of my ladies, she went, "Oh, this child's done this today. I've had enough, blah, blah, blah." And I went, "How does your child feel?"
Mm,
And they went, "What?" I went, "Now, if that sentence is making you feel like, oh, how does your child feel?" And I know it sounds awful that I twist it that way, but I think sometimes when we're stuck in these cycles, the only way we can actually see what we're saying is so negative is when we're impacting someone we love.
that's a good point. Yeah.
And oh, I sound really nasty. I know I do.
It does sometimes take something completely outside of us to be impacted to like really realize. And that's a tough thing I think to try to work through too is like, oh, like how are other people impacted by what I'm saying or doing or thinking or feeling, right? So that can be a whole other thing to work through.
Oh, yes. And one of the things I always say to everyone, the only thing we're in control of is us.
Yeah,
We're not even in control. When I pick up that bottle of water, I'm not in control of that because if I squeeze it slightly too hard or my hand goes that way, it's going to spill. I'm not fully in control of even a bottle of water. The only thing I'm in control of is me. You think about your necklace when you wear it at night time and it ends up backwards. You ain't controlled that. That's controlled itself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I point it out sometimes that way, because especially because it can be generational, because
yes.
that's how they were spoke to. So they see it as it's okay. And it's like, no, it's not.
No, not so much. Not so much.
And by the way, guys, it's the only argument in our house is that is when my husband speaks to one of the girls like that, and he's like, "Oh, they can take it," and I'm like, "They're girls, believe me, they can't. Now stop." And that is the only time me and my husband argue. Um, so one of the other things that I wanted to ask is, oh no, you've answered that about combining Reiki because you said about your why can't I get yoga out? What is going on? So, what would you be your tips on someone what's just starting their Reiki journey and actually wants to start their healing journey?
Mm. I guess just be open-minded, I think is the best way to like move through a journey of healing and of learning the energy. Um, because it's just such a unique experience, I think. Like everybody sort of their interpretations are different and the experiences that they have are different. And so just knowing that, like being open to whatever that might look like for you on your own journey. Because it's just a completely personal experience. Like you probably interpret energy a little bit differently than how I interpret it, but both of us are right. Neither of us is wrong. It's just our interpretation of it. So it's um, just staying completely as open as you can through the process and just allowing it to unfold however it's going to. I think would be my big tip.
I know that is perfect. I'm going to be honest. My only other tip, and I will admit this, guys, my only other tip is going to be make sure you get a genuine person to work with. You will have noticed that most of the people that I work with on my podcast are people that I can be 100% genuine and I can sit here and say, yeah, they're good. Um, I will, you can always tell when I like them because I get chatty. So I will say to you guys, if you are questioning, do have a look through. Alison, I will literally sit here and say, I can feel off her energy, she's good. So I will sit here and say that. I'm a bit of a weirdo. We're not meant to send each other, but I'm like, yeah, if you need to go, go. Because I think that's something else that people don't understand is when you're on your Reiki journey, you may actually need to try out 2 or 3 practitioners before
Yeah.
you can actually settle with them.
Yeah.
Because not every practitioner is made for the healing journey you're on.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think people have different styles too. And it's like sometimes it's like picking a counselor, it's like you want somebody that you can feel comfortable and click with, even though that's not what you're doing. It's like, you want to have that level of comfort where you can be, it can be a vulnerable process, like opening,
Yeah.
allowing your energy to be, shared and opening yourself up to, your practitioner has these interpretations of your thoughts and feelings. And so you want to be able to share that openly and not be closed off.
Oh, that is perfect because that is one of the things because it helps us with your healing journey. So I hold my hands up. It does help us with your healing journey if you're honest with us, if you tell us how you're feeling and stuff like that. So things like if you're struggling to meditate, I'll rather someone message me and say, look, I am actually struggling to meditate. And I'll go, right, okay, let's see whether I can book in a group session and a couple. Do you know what? You've had so many orbs around you, lovely.
Me?
Yeah, do you mind me saying?
No, please. I love to hear it.
I don't know why. It's just that one was really oddly shaped. It was sort of like, oh, wait, I'll send this to you. I'll sort it out and I'll send you that bit. Um, so it sort of made me go, oh, sorry guys, that made me go off subject. I do apologize.
Okay.
Um,
Cool too. Like it's cool to hear.
well, I hold my hands up. It's grandma to me, sat on this side of the flowers. So I see
Okay.
grandma. Um, so yeah, she's bless her heart. She's very lovely. I think she passed young though, because she looks quite young. She don't look quite 60, sort of older than 60, I wouldn't have said.
Okay.
Unless you're all blessed and look young.
I mean, she did look young when she passed, but
Oh, bless her. But yeah, so she's just stood there, but she's more of a spirit guide. So it's like I think she sensed you might have been nervous about today. So she's sort of there, just sort of giving you comfort, is what I get.
she's come through before, so I know in previous readings people have noticed my grandma around. So I feel like she's just always sort of a part of my day to day, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, she's nodding with that.
Yeah.
Apparently, she doesn't need to say anything. It's really unusual. I usually get them chatting with me when I spotted them. So I do apologise, my lovely. Um, I've now lost my train of thought because of that. So I do apologise. There is one more question that I really wanted to ask because I've just realised the time. What is common misconceptions about Reiki that you'd love to sort of, I don't want to use the term debunk, but sort of say, look, it's not like that.
Common misconceptions. I would say uh, some of the things that I hear these days is that I'm sort of manipulating the energy somehow, or that I have some sort of like control, I guess is more of a better way to say it, um, over the other person's energy. And I would say that's a misconception because I can't do anything unless the person has given permission energetically. Um, and it's just white light. It's just source energy. And so anybody can tap into it. And that's another misconception, I think, is that people feel like they're separate from it or that it's this separate thing that only some people can do. I think everybody can have the ability if they choose to pursue that path. Um, it's not like this like, unique thing that
Yeah,
only, a handful of people in the world can do. It's like anybody can turn it on and use it and heal. So I think anybody can be a healer. That's been my experience with it. Um, yeah, I think those are probably the two biggest ones is people get nervous about the energy, thinking that I'm like, there's some kind of darkness that we can have over their energy, and or that it's like this separate thing that only certain people can do, and that it's not attainable for anybody,
I think
everybody.
that's the mystical side of it. Because whereas clairvoyance, we have to have had it sort of set there in a certain way. I personally don't believe that everyone can be trained to be a medium. Sorry, love and light crew, but I don't. Um, but at the same time, I do believe everyone can train to do Reiki. There is some of us that see it slightly different, like myself. So there is some of us that see it slightly different. There is some of us that feel energy slightly different, like myself. But I personally feel what they're mistaking it with is witchcraft.
Mm, yeah, I
Because
think common too. Like the two are interchangeable in a lot of people's minds.
yeah, and then they're so different.
Yeah,
They're
they're completely different things.
Yeah, so different. With witchcraft, you can send negative energy, but it's got to be done for a spell. I personally don't do any of that. Mine's just literally worshipping my gods and asking them for some of basically prayers.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I love what you've said there because it is right. And yeah, it's made me think now with people saying that. I'm like, do they not realize what we're doing? We're sending them white light, we're sending them love, we're sending them care.
yeah. And I think some people have, when they've come to see me, they've been a bit nervous about like thinking that somehow I can negatively impact them. And, I've never understood that completely, but I think they just feel like that vulnerability is unsafe. And, it's, I guess, just a bit of a challenge for some people to get over. And some people won't even approach it. They won't go near even the idea of the Reiki energy because of that. But that it's just, I think it's really beautiful that we can all be at that kind of vibration that that the Reiki energy gives you. Anybody can tap into that. Anybody can have that vibe in life and just like go on with that positive healing sort of space and energy.
Completely agree. And this is one of the reasons why I do put out my Reiki meditations. And I'm getting rid of it. I actually do more my soul cleanser meditations more than anything that I release as guided meditations. And that is because I don't want to fill you with negative energy. I want you as white as the world can be. I rather I shine like Apollo's sunlight. That is what I want for the world, is it fully shining as bright as it can be. And I think,
And let's be real, the world needs as much healing as it can get right now, you know, like in all honesty. So
oh
yeah,
yeah,
putting out your Reiki healing meditations, like keep doing that.
to be honest, heck yes. As I always tell people, I used to be able to go out and I'll see only one or two attachments within 15 people, and now I'm seeing five within 15 people, and I'm like, that is not okay. I just want to explain attachments quickly as well. If you've come over from Alison's lot, they don't always, I don't believe in demons, so I will just say that, but they're not, some of them are caused by yourself, and some of them are just these negative people trying to control you. That is all it is. Um, but where the world's getting darker, especially since 1950s, I don't know what happened. I'm like, what happened in the 50s to cause it to get so dark?
I,
Like,
it's
I,
like ramping up too, like all the time, just holding in on itself in negative energies. Like
it's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, it's hard to even fully grasp how much negativity is like on the earth right now, but it's here we are, just white light warriors trying to power through it.
Like, please come to us and heal. We don't care which one of us practitioners you come to, but come and heal, please. I think that's why I started this podcast, because I was like, I just want everyone to heal. I'm just like at this stage where I'm like, please, everyone heal, please.
Yeah.
Um,
Life can
So,
be so much more meaningful and beautiful. Like, come to the light side.
yeah. And you get to go to the meadows. And for me, it's the meadows. You get to go to the meadows and you get to have fun in the afterlife. Don't get stuck here. And I think we can see that by hauntings. Like hauntings are getting really big at the minute, like really bad. Anyway, my lovely, could I have your statement out, please?
So, um, let me think for a minute here. I would want to encourage everybody to examine themselves and take a look at where they're at in life. And I encourage everybody to move towards the white light. I really do. Because there is just nothing better than having a fulfilling, meaningful life.
I love that. And I want to add something. I don't know why it come to me while you were saying that. If you think you're free, scrolling through social media, putting your opinion out there, you're not.
Yeah. That's
You're
a good
trapped. I don't know why that come to me when you said that, but I was like, I need to say that. I
yeah,
need to add that in.
that's important.
Um,
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
it's weird, isn't it? The way we can bounce off each other, I love it. Thank you, Sparklers. Alison's link will be down below. If you are new around here, please do subscribe, do like, comment, and let us know your feelings because I'll be interested in whether you think you are healing or not healing. I'd actually be really interested and do comment that down below. So, anyway, guys, don't forget to keep sparkling.